Found himself practicing with a crew of backups while the team's other passers, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, have received first-team reps. Sanders, though, said he's unbothered by his practice reps and instead looking to take advantage of every opportunity he gets. Shedeur?
This is a mindset, this is an adjustment. You got to go and understand the situation that you're in and be able to approach that and get the best out of it. You could view things as you're not getting reps in a negative way, or you could view it as, okay, when's my time to get out there? So there's no excuses, because when you get out there, nobody cares how many reps you got. Whenever you get in the game, nobody cares if you took a snap before. You know, like they care about. You got to be able to produce.
He's so right. Nobody does care. He said all the right things. Stephen A., Shedeur taking fewer reps, do you think that's a bad sign?
No, not at all. It's too early for all of that. He just arrived. He's a rookie. And by the way, while you're looking at him, you also want to see what Dillon Gabriel will bring to the table, along with others. Kenny Pickett is on this squad. He's relatively young, even though I don't think that he's the face of the franchise for the future, okay? Of course, Joe Flacco is an experienced veteran. You got him there as a security blanket. You should have had him there last year, okay? But when I look at Shedeur Sanders, I mean, when you consider what he did, his career completion percentage is the best in the FBS, more than 71% for his career. He completed 74% of his passes last year, despite being sacked about 42 times, okay? 90-plus times over the 2 years that he was at Colorado. The brother can play, but what you drafted in the fifth round, 144th overall. We all know how bogus that was. We know that there's more to it than just his football skill. But him being there, you want to test a lot of things about Shedeur Sanders. And most of it, of course, his skill set is one thing because you want to make sure he can play on this level, but his temperament, there's a willingness to him, not ability, because we know he has the ability, but his willingness to handle adversity. His willingness, you want to see if you're the Browns, how he's going to react to not being with the first team, all right, not being QB1 and taking a step back. You want to see how he's going to react while they're taking a look at Dillon Gabriel. You want to see what his temperament is like and what have you because of all the things that have been said about him. So I don't have a problem with it at all. I thought he gave perfect answers yesterday, but more importantly, Cleveland testing him this way doesn't bother me either because what you're trying to do is cement what you believe you already know about his character, not just his play. And I think that it's good for a young person in his position to be put through those tests because ultimately you're going to be tested. So why not start from scratch and try to test him now?
I think what the Browns did, I'll let Lewis handle the quarterback who's good and who isn't. I think what the Browns did here in this offseason is superb. They knew they didn't love the quarterbacks. I mean, outside, obviously, who was the first pick. They didn't get Cam Ward. They knew from a standpoint of what was left, they were not going to get the quarterback of the future. They probably didn't think Sanders was on that level. Obviously, they didn't. Most teams didn't seem to. You know, Dillon Gabriel was a reach. Okay, we'll see what he does. Sanders is a reach, but they trade Hunter. They get Jacksonville's #1. They got the #1 for next year. So they got a lot of chips for the lottery. And there's 6 or 7 quarterbacks next year who could be first-round picks. The kid from Arizona State's going to be a very good quarterback. The kid from Penn State's got a chance to be a very good quarterback. Lewis can give you the other 4 or 5, but there's a lot of quarterbacks who are going to come out next year who they will now have an opportunity to draft because they got a lot of #1 picks. Throw in the idea that they take a chance this year. They don't punt on the season, but Sanders will get his chance. Gabriel will get his chance. They're not the quarterback of the future on the team. Maybe they get lucky and Sanders turns out to be great and don't have to worry about it. But if he doesn't, or if somebody else doesn't, they got a lot of quarterbacks for picks for next year where they can take another run at it with a better opportunity to get the guy that they want. I love what the Browns did there, Lewis, as far as the draft is concerned. Stockpiling picks for a draft in the following year that seems to be strong on a QB position. Give me your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, they've set themselves up pretty well, I believe, in the present, in the short term, and they also have a safety net, and they have a lot of options in the long term with the number of draft picks that they have coming next year, namely the pick that they're going to get from Jacksonville, and is probably going to be a high pick. So yeah, Cleveland's sitting in a good spot, theoretically. As it relates to Shedeur, look, I agree with Stephen A. I agree that they are trying to test him right now, whether that is purposefully or, secondarily, they are testing him right now. They're testing his resilience. They're testing his stick-to-itiveness. They're testing his ability to be intrinsically motivated to continue to stay in the book when I can tell you this. You're sitting over there during mini camps and OTAs right now. You're seeing a guy who was drafted 2 rounds ahead of you take reps with the ones when you're sitting there going, I'm better than that guy. I'm better than Dillon Gabriel, and I'm not getting the reps. They're going to be watching you. Scouts are watching you. The GM's watching you. Owners are watching you. They're seeing your body language. They're seeing how you are when you go in the huddle and you do get a couple reps. They're seeing how you execute, how you get on with the rest of the teammates, how you walk into the locker room, whether you're the guy who's first into your weightlifting session, whether you're a guy who's early into treatment. Are you in the film room watching extra tape? They're evaluating all that right now when he's not the man. He's not being treated as the man. No one cares about what you did at Colorado anymore. They're testing it. And he's taking the perfect approach. He's taking the perfect approach. He's saying, look, I got to maximize every single thing that I do here. The great Tom Brady used to talk about it the same way when he went to New England as a 5th round pick. I had to maximize everything. And when he does, that earns you more reps. Because in the end, I'll tell you this, as a pure quarterback, of everyone who they have on their roster right now, I do believe that Shedeur is the best player. But he's not going to be able to show that right away. And what Cleveland is saying is, are you willing to play the long game with us and bide your time? Are you still willing to do the right things? And if they do it organically, if they do it fairly, he'll win the job eventually at some point in time. I really do believe that. But there's a lot of things he's going to have to navigate first.
No question. Because the reality is that his skill set, again, I'm going to remind everybody, he was projected to be the 2nd quarterback taken in the draft. That's the bottom line. And to go from that to if he had dropped to late in the 1st round because another quarterback was picked ahead of him or, you know, a 2nd round pick, that would be different. But when you drop all the way to the 5th round, the 144th pick overall, doggy, that's not about football. That's about something else. When you got a guy with his talent that showed what he could do, particularly with his poise under pressure and what have you, and being sacked so many times and all, the brother can play.
Stephen, very important remarks. I got to hit the top of the story, though. I'm sorry.
Mike T, for Shedeur Sanders is an interesting one. Shefty pointed it out. The chances of him winning the job week 1 are extremely remote. But I feel like there's almost no question at some point this season he will get the chance to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And that should happen sooner than later, Green, for a number of reasons. First of all, he could be their quarterback in the future. I don't think there's any question he has much more ability than Dillon Gabriel, despite the fact that he was drafted 2 rounds later. And they made a great trade. I think Jacksonville likely could have a top 5, top 10 pick. That's going to be Cleveland's. Next year's draft is loaded with quarterbacks. So one of the things that Cleveland needs to accomplish this year is where are they with the quarterback position? And this isn't the sexiest thing, but Shedeur Sanders can earn the trust and